All right, let's dive into the state of artificial intelligence. I mean, it's a technology that's moving so ridiculously fast, it feels like the future is already here. And with that comes both some absolutely incredible promise and some really, really big challenges. Let's get right into it.
This quote from Microsoft CEO it nails it. The big takeaway isn't just that AI is a big deal. It's that it's on track to completely reshape the most critical parts of our lives. And, as we're about to see, there's no field more critical than healthcare.
So, just how big is this AI wave we're all riding? Well, to really get it, you have to look at the sheer scale and speed of its growth. We are talking about a full-on global gold rush.
Okay, get ready for this number. $100 billion. That's the target for a brand new state-owned AI investment firm, MGX, launched by Abu Dhabi. This isn't just some casual investment, you guys. This is a national strategy, a massive bet to try and dominate the future of AI.
And it's not just them. Over in Singapore, they've pledged over $1 billion for the next 5 years, all to boost their own AI industry, find the talent, and build up the massive computer power that this tech needs.
So what does all this tell us? We're seeing this unprecedented wave of global investment. These are not small, isolated bets. We're talking about entire countries and corporations fundamentally changing their priorities to be all in on AI. The signal couldn't be clearer. This technology is going to reshape our world, and it is happening right now.
But with all this money, all this hype, how do we actually know that AI is getting smarter? I mean, how can we even begin to measure the progress of these unbelievably complex systems?
Well, the answer is something called benchmarks, and you can basically think of them as standardized exams for AI. They're specifically designed to push these models to their absolute limits on everything you can imagine, to grade their performance, and most importantly, to track just how fast they're learning.
And just look at the speed of progress this reveals. The GPQA is a legendarily difficult graduate-level test. In 2023, the best AI out there, GPT-4, scored just under 39%, basically a failing grade. Just a year later, a new model scored almost 88%, even blowing past the scores of human experts. That leap it's just staggering.
And we're not talking about simple multiple-choice questions here. These benchmarks test AI on a huge spectrum of skills. So on the left, you've got a test for pure, structured coding logic, and on the right, a test that uses messy, confusing, open-ended questions from real people. This variety gives us a much more complete picture of what these AIs can really do.
But, and this is a huge but, with this incredible, rapidly accelerating power comes some very, very real peril. For every amazing new thing we unlock, new risks and new challenges pop up that we absolutely have to pay attention to.
Here's a perfect example of one of the biggest immediate dangers: misinformation. During Mexico's presidential election, this AI-generated image of a Starbucks cup supporting a candidate went completely viral. Of course, Starbucks had nothing to do with it, but the damage was done. The image spread like wildfire, just blurring the line between what's real and what's fake.
And these risks aren't just about what you see online. They have a real human cost. Just imagine being publicly accused of a crime you didn't commit. That's exactly what happened to a woman in the UK. She was wrongly identified as a shoplifter by a facial recognition system. The AI made a mistake, but she was the one who paid the price.
Now, this research, it turns a common belief completely on its head. We all kind of think that more data makes AI better, right? Fairer? Well, what this chart shows is the exact opposite. For some models, as they were fed more and more data, they actually became more biased, more likely to misidentify certain groups as criminals. It's terrifying proof that just making AI bigger can actually make it worse.
The risks can also be systemic, baked into the whole network. This slide shows what researchers call an infectious jailbreak. They found that a single, specially made image could trigger a whole cascade of harmful behavior. It spread exponentially, infecting a network of 1 million AI agents in about 30 steps. It's a huge warning about how fast one small failure can become a massive problem.
So, with all these risks, how do we possibly move forward? Let's look for answers in a field where the stakes are literally life and death: healthcare. If we can get it right here, maybe, just maybe, we can get it right everywhere else. You know, a responsible approach isn't about some secret sauce. It's a clear, step-by-step process. You don't start with the cool tech. You start with a real clinical need. You build with a deep understanding of how doctors and patients actually work.
You test everything for safety and fairness, and then you keep monitoring it after it's out in the world. This roadmap gives us a really clear vision for how AI's role in medicine could evolve. So, short term, it's about automating things, like reading medical scans. Medium term, it moves to augmentation, helping doctors make sense of complex data. But the long-term goal? That's transformation, with things like AI digital twins of patients, letting doctors test treatments in a simulation first. How cool is that? Now, one of the biggest roadblocks for AI in healthcare has always been data privacy, right? How do you train these systems without using sensitive patient info? Well, this is where synthetic data comes in, and it is a total game changer. The image on the left is a real scan. The one on the right was completely made up by an AI. This synthetic data can be used to train powerful models, all while keeping patient privacy locked down. It's a brilliant fix for a really tough problem.
Okay, so let's zoom back out. These careful, deliberate lessons from healthcare, they could be the blueprint for the much bigger challenge of guiding AI for all of society.
And the good news is, a coordinated global response is actually starting to form. Countries all over the world are launching these AI safety institutes. The goal is for everyone to work together on managing risks, developing standards for testing, basically a global effort to build AI we can all trust.
But this brings us to the central tension of our time. This is the core of the whole issue. AI's capabilities are shooting upwards on this exponential curve, but our ability to make it safe, to make it fair, to hold it accountable, that's growing at a much slower, more human pace. And that gap is the single biggest challenge we face.
And that leaves us with one final huge question. The machine is learning faster than we ever imagined, but are we, as a society, learning how to manage this incredible power just as quickly? That's the question that's going to define our future.